I died choking on my own blood, the taste of betrayal metallic on my tongue, as the world blurred into the cold steel of that penthouse balcony. One push from the man I loved, and I was gone, plummeting 13 stories into the Manhattan night, my screams swallowed by the honk of taxis below. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my 28-year-old body, heart pounding like a jackhammer, the alarm clock blaring, New York, New York, on my nightstand. Holy shit, I was alive again. Yesterday's coffee still bitter in my mouth, the email from my boss unread on my phone, and the form I was about to sign glowing innocently in my inbox. This time, I wouldn't be the idiot who trusted them. This time, I'd burn it all down. The first thing that hit me wasn't relief. It was rage, pure and volcanic, erupting from the ashes of that final fall. I bolted upright in my queen-sized bed in my cramped Brooklyn walk-up, sheets tangled around my legs like restraints from a bad dream. My hands, trembled as I flexed them, feeling the familiar calluses from endless nights typing reports for Vanguard Finance. The mirror across the room showed my reflection. Sophia Reyes, 5'6" firecracker with dark curls wild from sleep, brown eyes wide with the ghost of terror. But those eyes now burned with something sharper. Knowledge. The kind that comes from watching your life unravel thread by thread until you're dangling from the edge. That form. God, that cursed form. It was waiting for me, an innocuous PDF attachment titled Team Compliance Acknowledgement, Q3 Audit. I'd signed it 6 months ago in my first life. Well, my only life until now, thinking it was just bureaucracy, a quick checkbox to help the team hit deadlines. Little did I know it was the noose they looped around my neck. One signature, and I greenlit a batch of falsified mortgage-backed securities reports, burying the red flags under layers of legalese. When the feds came knocking, it looked like I'd cooked the books myself. $480 million in toxic assets imploded, wiping out pensions, tanking stocks, and turning me into the poster child for white-collar villainy. My fiancé, Alex, the golden boy of the firm, whispered in my ear that night on the balcony, "You did this, Soph. You have to end it." His hands on my shoulders weren't comforting. They were guiding me over the rail. I stumbled to my laptop, the screen's blue light harsh against the pre-dawn gloom filtering through my fire escape window. There it was, the email, timestamped 6:47 a.m., October 15th, 2023. My fingers hovered over the trackpad, pulse thundering in my ears. In the old timeline, I'd clicked sign, without a second thought, rushing to meet Alex for brunch at that overpriced spot in Soho. Brunch where he'd proposed with a ring that felt like a shackle, right before the world crumbled. This time, fuck that. I deleted the email, watching the trash icon pulse like a heartbeat. But deleting one message wouldn't save me. I needed a plan, a scorched earth revenge blueprint etched in the marrow of my reborn bones. Vanguard Finance wasn't just a job. It was a viper's nest disguised as a Wall Street powerhouse. Nestled in a gleaming tower off Wall Street, it preyed on the dreams of middle-class suckers, bundling their home loans into derivatives that exploded like faulty fireworks. I'd clawed my way in fresh out of NYU, fueled by my mom's stories of scraping by as a single parent in the Bronx. "Make it for us, Mija," she'd say, her voice thick with the accent of Puerto Rico she never lost. I did, top of my class in econ, internships at boutique firms, landing junior analyst at 25. By 28, I was lead on compliance audits, the one they called the closer for sniffing out discrepancies. Irony, I closed the wrong door. Alex Hargrove, the name alone still twisted my gut like a knife. Tall, blonde, Ivy League polish with a smile that could charm a jury. We met at a firm happy hour, him nursing a scotch, me venting about regulatory headaches over cheap Merlot. Sparks flew, or so I thought. Late nights at his loft overlooking the Hudson, weekends in the Hamptons where he'd whisper about our future. "You're my rock, Soph," he'd say, tracing circles on my back. Lies. All of it. He was the architect of the scam, siphoning funds through shell accounts, laundering it via offshore crypto wallets. And me? The patsy. When the SEC audit loomed, he fed me that form, doctored to make it look like I'd authorized the fraud. My signature was the smoking gun. But Alex wasn't alone. There was Elena Vasquez, my best friend since college, now senior VP at Vanguard, her sleek bob and power suits hiding a serpent's heart. We'd bonded over being the only Latinas in the room, sharing empanadas at her abuela's in Queens, crying over rom-coms when men ghosted us. She recruited me to the firm, mentored me, even introduced me to Alex at that happy hour. He's perfect for you, she'd winked. Perfect setup, you mean? Elena was the brains, the one who buried the secrets in encrypted ledgers, using her access to manipulate the algorithms that flagged risks. Together, they pinned it on me, leaking evidence to the press, anonymous tips about my reckless ambition, forged emails painting me as the greedy climber. The feds didn't just investigate, they crucified me. Raids at dawn, agents in windbreakers tearing through my apartment, flashing badges like Judgment Day. Miss Reyes, you're looking at 20 years, the lead agent said, his voice flat as he cuffed me in front of my neighbors. The headline screamed, Bronx Girl Gone Bad. How one signature doomed millions. My mom, dying of cancer in that hospice bed, watched it all on a flickering TV. Her last words a broken, "Why, Sophia?" Alex visited me in lockup, eyes wet with crocodile tears. I still love you, but you have to make it right. That night, bailed out on a technicality, I went to his penthouse. The accident followed, his hands, the rail, the fall. Suicide, they ruled. Cover-up complete. Now, reborn, I wasn't suicidal. I was spectral, a ghost in my own skin, haunting the paths that led to my grave. First order, fortify. I called in sick to Vanguard, hoarse voice, stomach bug from hell, and spent the day in a haze of caffeine and code. I'd always been handy with Python from my data analytics days. Now, it was my Excalibur. I spun up a VPN, routed through Tor, and dove into the dark web forums where whistleblowers traded tips like contraband. By noon, I'd cloned Alex's work email. His password was our anniversary, the dumbass, and started sifting through his sent folder. There it was, threads with Elena, coded lingo about Project Phoenix, attachments heavy with falsified spreadsheets. Jackpot. But knowledge without action is just torment. I needed allies, or at least pawns. Enter Marcus Hale, the firm's IT was kid, a lanky black guy from Harlem with hacker eyes and a moral compass that wobbled but pointed true. We'd bonded over late-night debugging sessions, him schooling me on blockchain while I snuck him arepas from my mom's recipe. In the old life, he tried to warn me, slipped a USB with anomalies under my desk the week before the raid. I ignored it, too buried in deadlines. This time, I texted him, coffee? Now, something's off with the Q3S. We met at a dingy spot in Flatbush, steam rising from our mugs like secrets escaping. Soph, you look like you saw a ghost, Marcus said, his Brooklyn drawl cutting the tension. Close enough. I leaned in, voice low. Because I did. Listen, Alex and Elena are cooking something rotten. Mortgages, derivatives, the works. I need your eyes on the servers. His brow furrowed, dreads falling over one eye. Girl, that's felony territory. You got proof. I slid my phone across, showing the cloned emails. His face drained of color. Shit, this is bigger than Enron. Why me? Because you're the only one I trust, I said, and meant it. In my death throes, tumbling through the air, I'd replayed every face. Colleagues who'd ghosted me post-scandal, friends who unfollowed on Insta. Marcus had emailed me in jail. Not buying the bullshit. Stay strong. He was my wild card. We plotted like fugitives. Marcus would embed a backdoor in the firm's firewall, siphon data to an off-site server I rented under a fake name. I'd play the dutiful analyst, feeding them false trails while gathering ammo. But revenge isn't clean. It's a mudslide, pulling in the innocent. First controversial call. I doxed a low-level accomplice, a junior trader named Kyle who'd shredded docs on Elena's orders. Anonymous post on a finance subreddit, his home address tagged. By evening, his LinkedIn was nuked, calls flooding his phone. Eye for an eye. I whispered to my reflection, but the thrill curdled in my stomach. Was I becoming them? Days blurred into a fever dream of deception. At Vanguard, I strutted the marble halls like a queen in disguise, nodding at Elena in the elevator, her Chanel perfume cloying as cyanide. Missed you at brunch, chica, she cooed, air-kissing my cheek. I smiled, teeth gritted. Family stuff. You know how it is. Alex cornered me in the break room, his cologne, that same sandalwood from our last night, making bile rise. Dinner tonight? Make it up to you. His hand brushed my arm, possessive. I let it linger, then pulled away with a laugh. Busy. Audit crunch. His eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering like a short circuit. Nights, Marcus and I holed up in his Astoria basement, screens glowing with data waterfalls. Look at this, he said one midnight, pointing to a ledger spike. They're laundering through a Cayman trust. Elena's signature all over it. My heart seized. Elena's abuela's ring, passed down generations, pawned for seed money on those shells. Betrayal's depth hit like vertigo. She'd sold her soul, and mine with it. But the real gut punch came from the buried secret, the one that made my old death not just murder, but mercy. Buried in Alex's deleted folder, medical records. My mom's cancer? Not bad luck. Vanguard's pension fund, the one I managed, had been gutted for their scheme. Her treatments denied, premiums jacked by 300% overnight. Elena's memo, cost-saving measure. Reyes won't notice. My mom suffered because I was blind, gasping her last in a ward that smelled of bleach and despair, while they toasted with Dom Perignon. That secret? It wasn't just crime. It was the theft of her final breath. Rage refined into resolve. I escalated, hacked Elena's personal cloud, downloading voicemails from her lover, Alex, of course. Their pillow talk, plotting my frame up, her laugh like shattered glass. Sophia's too trusting. One push, and she's out. I burned copies to USBs, stashed in safety deposit boxes across the boroughs. Controversial move too. I approached the SEC anonymously, drip-feeding tips through a burner account. Not full disclosure. Oh no. Just enough to trigger audits. Watch the rats scurry. The Fed's first probe hit like a grenade. Vanguard stock dipped 8%. Whispers of internal irregularities rippling through Bloomberg terminals. Alex noticed. He cornered me in his office, door locked, city skyline mocking us through floor-to-ceiling glass. What's going on, Soph? You're different. His blue eyes searched mine, that boyish charm cracking at the edges. I leaned against his desk, casual as a cat. Different how? Enlightened. I dangled the bait, a forged email from his account, sent to me, confessing minor lapses. His face paled. What the hell is this? Insurance, I said, voice steel. Sign off on the next audit clean, or it goes viral. Blackmail. The word tasted like ash, but power surged through me, electric. He lunged, grabbing my wrist. Echo of the balcony, but I twisted free, knee connecting with his groin. He crumpled, gasping. Touch me again, and you're done. I fled to the stairwell, adrenaline crashing like waves. Was this justice, or just vendetta? Marcus waited in the lobby, concern etching his face. You good? Better than ever. I lied, but the fracture lines were showing. The climax brewed like a nor'easter, winds howling off the East River. Elena called a crisis meeting. Her, Alex, me, and a handful of execs in the boardroom, tension thick as fog. Projections flickered on the wall, losses mounting, feds circling. Someone's leaking, she hissed, eyes darting to me. Alex shifted, sweat beading on his brow. I stood, voice steady. It's over. I know everything. Gasps rippled. I plugged in the USB, files spilling across the screen, ledgers, recordings, the form's metadata proving forgery. Elena's face twisted, shock, then fury. You bitch. After all I've done. Done. I laughed, bitter. You killed my mother. Framed me. Pushed me off a ledge in another life. The room froze. They thought I was cracking. But Marcus, patched in remotely, flooded their inboxes. Copies to every board member, CC'd to the DA. Alex bolted for the door. Security, tipped by me, waited. Elena lunged, nails raking my arm, drawing pinpricks of blood. You were nothing without me. We grappled, chairs toppling, the city lights blurring into a kaleidoscope of chaos. Sirens wailed below, feds storming the lobby. In the melee, the twist hit like lightning. As Elena twisted away, her necklace snapped, her abuela's ring tumbling free. I snatched it, the gold warm against my palm, but engraved inside, Para Sophia y Familia. My blood ran cold. Flashing back, not dreams, memories suppressed. Elena wasn't just a mentor. She was my aunt, half-sister to my mom, estranged after a family feud over inheritance. The scam? Not greed alone. Revenge on my mom's side for stealing the family business decades ago. She'd groomed me to destroy us from within, wedding me to Alex as the final nail. Your family, I whispered, the ring heavy as lead. She sneered, cuffed by agents. Blood's thicker than loyalty, Sabrina. You chose wrong. The fall came not for me, but them. Trials dragged through 2024. Alex, 15 years for fraud. Elena, 25, her empire dust. Vanguard collapsed. Assets seized. The $480 million clawed back for victims. Pensions restored, including retro for my mom's fund. I testified, voice unflinching. The courtroom a coliseum of flashing cameras and gasps. But victory's aftertaste was Pyrrhic. Marcus and I faded into the background. He to a tech startup, me to a quiet gig at a nonprofit, auditing for good. The ring? I melted it down, scattered the gold in the Bronx River, a libation to ghosts. Reborn, I'd ruined them, but the mirror showed scars, trust shattered, decisions that haunted, the doxing, the blackmail, the blood on my hands from fights I started. One night, walking the Brooklyn Bridge, wind whipping my curls, I paused at the center. The city pulsed below, alive and unforgiving. No push this time. Just me, stepping forward into whatever came next. Redemption? Maybe. Or just survival. Either way, I was free. The weeks post-revelation settled like fallout, a radioactive haze over my rebuilt life. I'd moved out of the Brooklyn walk-up, too many ghosts in the walls, echoes of sirens and slamming doors, and into a sublet in Ditmas Park, where brownstones whispered of normalcy instead of nightmares. Mornings now meant yoga in the park, downward dog-facing maple trees turning crimson, not the grind of subway rushes. But normalcy was a lie I told myself over oat milk lattes. Inside, the engine hummed, idling for the next gear. The feds wanted more. Agent Ramirez, short, no-nonsense Latino with a Queen's accent that mirrored my own, became a fixture. Coffee at a midtown diner, her notepad flipping like accusations. Miss Reyes, your intuition on Vanguard, it's gold. But how'd you know? Really? Her eyes, sharp as broken glass, probed for cracks. I sipped black coffee, steam curling like secrets. Call it a hunch. Late nights, patterns that didn't add up. Truth twisted. In my first death, I'd pieced it together mid-fall, wind roaring revelations. The ledgers, the shells, it clicked too late, body shattering on concrete, while my mind screamed the connections. Rebirth gifted me the map, I just followed the blood trails. She leaned in, voice low. Hunches don't dox traders or hack C-suites. You're playing with fire, Sophia. Controversial decision 3, lie to the law. Paranoia from the old days. Thought everyone was out to get me. Ramirez bought it, or pretended to. Her card stayed on my fridge, a talisman against hubris. But her words lingered, a splinter under skin. Was I the hero, or just another schemer in pinstripes? Marcus thrived in the chaos, his startup, Ethos Audit, booming on our leaked intel, blockchain tools for transparent finance, venture capital sniffing like sharks. We met weekly at a taqueria in Bushwick, tacos al pastor dripping with pineapple heat mirroring our banter. You're a legend, Soph, he'd say, lime juice on his chin. Wall Street's boogeyman. I laughed, but it hollowed. Legends die young. Nights alone, I'd scroll news feeds. Elena's mugshot splashed across CNBC, her defense claiming coerced testimony. Alex's plea deal crumbling under perjury charges, his family disowning him in a tearful Times op-ed. Satisfaction? Sure, a warm buzz like good tequila. But the twist, the ant reveal, gnawed. Family wasn't just blood, it was the blade that cut deepest. I dug deeper, not for revenge, but closure. Hired a PI on the sly, a grizzled ex-cop named Frankie with a cigar habit and rates that bled my savings. Vasquez family history. I told him over burner phone. Puerto Rico roots, any bad blood. His report landed a week later, PDF heavy with yellowed scans. My abuela's will, contested in '98. Elena's mom, my great-aunt, accused of forgery, cut out for ungrateful schemes. My mom, barely 20, inherited the bodega chain, fled to the States with a toddler me in tow. Elena, left scraping in San Juan, nursing grudges that festered into felonies. The secret's full bloom. Elena hadn't just framed me. She'd targeted the Reyes line, infiltrating Vanguard to sabotage from afar. Recruiting me, grooming the enemy's daughter. Introducing Alex? Poison in the well. My mom's cancer denial. Collateral in her vendetta. Pensions slashed to bankrupt the legacy. I stared at the photo enclosed. Elena at 16, scowling beside a beaming mom at a family picnic. Sisters once, serpents now. Rage reignited, but tempered, steel-forged, not molten. I visited my mom's grave in Calvary Cemetery, Queen's earth damp under autumn leaves. Lo siento, mama, I whispered, tracing her headstone. I fixed it. Sort of. Wind carried my words, or maybe ghosts listened. On the drive back, crosstown traffic, a snarl of horns and exhaust, I made the call. Testify at Elena's trial. Not for the DA, but for her. Face the monster, humanize the myth. Courtroom in Foley Square, December chills seeping through marble halls. Elena in orange jumpsuit, hair stripped of its gloss, but eyes, those hawk eyes, locked on me like lasers. The judge, a silver-haired patrician, banged gavel. Prosecution droned stats. $480 million evaporated. 5,000 families ruined. Suicides spiking in the wake. My turn. I took the stand, Bible heavy in hand, swearing truth. Ms. Reyes, the prosecutor intoned, described the betrayal. I met Elena's gaze. She was family. My aunt. Built me up to tear me down. Murmurs rippled. Sidebar, judge's brow furrow. But I pressed. Recordings played. Her voice tinny. Push her off, Alex. Clean slate. Gasps, jury paling. Then the twist I dropped. The ring, the history. This wasn't greed. It was grudge. Generations deep. Elena's cross-exam was a maelstrom. Her lawyer, slick as oil, paced. Delusional, isn't it? Ghosts and grudges. Ms. Reyes, you've suffered trauma. Hallucinations. I leaned into the mic, voice steady. No delusions. Just facts. You killed my mother twice. Once with greed, once with hate. The courtroom held breath. Elena cracked, tears streaking, a sob escaping. You don't understand. They took everything. Jurors shifted, empathy fracturing outrage. Verdict, guilty, but sentence lightened, 20 to 15, with psych eval. Mercy? Or manipulation? As marshals led her away, she mouthed, "Perdoname." Forgive? The word curdled. Outside, reporters swarmed, mics thrusting like spears. Sophia Reyes, vindicated whistleblower. Thoughts on the family angle? I pushed through, no comment, hailing a cab to freedom. But freedom tasted bittersweet, like overripe persimmon. Marcus threw a victory party that night. Rooftop in Williamsburg, fairy lights strung against graffiti walls, reggae tone pulsing low. Beers clinked, friends, new ones, vetted, cheered. To Sophia, the unbreakable. But as fireworks cracked over the skyline, Alex's shadow loomed, not metaphor. A text from an unknown. Miss you. We need to talk. A jailhouse contraband. Or escape plot. Paranoia spiked. I traced it to a payphone in Rikers. Controversial 4. Visit him. Not compassion, calculation. Rikers Visitor Center, plexiglass thick as judgment. Alex on the other side. Gaunt. Orange suiting him like a noose. Soft, he rasped, receiver trembling. I didn't want this. Elena. She forced me. Lies, I said flat. You pushed. His eyes welled. I loved you. Still do. The form, it was her idea. I tried to protect you. Protect? The word ignited. By letting me fall. My mom died because of your protection. I slid a photo across. My mom's last, smiling in hospice. His flinch was genuine or practiced. Twist 2. Confession. There's more, he whispered. The $480 million? Tip of the iceberg. Elena's got a network, senators, banks. She's flipping for immunity. Immunity? My blood iced. The trials were theater, the real game played in shadows. I ended the call, mind racing. Marcus confirmed later, hacking plea docs. Elena naming names, a domino chain threatening to topple the firm anew, and me with it. Storm gathered. I rallied. Frankie the PI tailed leads, Marcus coded trackers. We uncovered the web, lobbyists greased, politicians pocketed kickbacks. Climax Redux, Gala at the Met, Vanguard's Phoenix, fundraiser, ironic as hell. I crashed it, black dress clinging like armor, hair pinned fierce. Elena's proxies mingled, champagne flutes clinking over caviar lies. There, Senator Hale, no relation to Marcus, silver fox with a donor smile. I cornered him by a Monet, voice honeyed venom. Enjoying the fruits of fraud? His blanch was priceless. I palmed a USB evidence bundle into his pocket. Resign, or this goes public. He sputtered, but security loomed. Escape through kitchens, steam and shouts, heart hammering. Outside, rain-lashed Park Avenue, cabs splashing by. Marcus waited in a stolen Prius, engine idling. Got him. Leaks live, Twitter's exploding. By dawn, resignations poured. Senators, CEOs, the rot exposed. Vanguard's remnants filed Chapter 11, assets liquidated for restitution. The $480 million? Repaid in full, checks cut to victims, widows, retirees, families like mine once was. But the cost? Me. Sleepless, second-guessing every shadow. Elena's pert name echoed, a siren's call to doubt. Was revenge rebirth, or recursion, trapping me in cycles of ruin? One spring morning, cherry blossoms dusting the park, I met Ramirez for that final coffee. It's done, she said, file closing. You're clear. I nodded, but inside, the hook lingered. Death's reset wasn't salvation. It was a mirror, reflecting the monster we all harbor. I walked out into sunlight, steps lighter, but eyes forever watchful. Reborn? Yes. To ruin, and perhaps, to rise. Summer scorched the city into a pressure cooker, humidity clinging like unspoken regrets, turning sidewalks into griddles under Louboutins and sneakers alike. I'd quit the nonprofit after 6 months. Too many forms. Echoes of that damned signature mocking me from every desk. Instead, I freelanced, consulting for startups on ethical AI, my byline in Forbes as the survivor auditor. Irony paid the bills, checks depositing into accounts I'd fortified like fortresses. But fame's a double-edged blade. It cuts isolation but invites ghosts. The letter started in May. Typewritten, no return address, postmarked from upstate. Ossining, Clinton's shadow. You think it's over, Sabrina? Blood calls to blood. Elena, from her cell, weaving spells through contraband stamps. I burned them in my sink, blue flames licking envelopes, but the ash stuck in my throat. Marcus urged therapy. PTSD don't play soft. Get it out. He was right. Sessions in a Tribeca loft, leather couch creaking under me. The shrink, a soft-spoken Jew with wire rims, probing like a surgeon. Tell me about the fall, he'd say, clock ticking judgment. I resisted at first, words damned. But one session, floodgates cracked. It was freedom and terror, all at once. Wind screaming, city rushing up. I saw everything. Alex's lies, Elena's hate, Mom's face. Then black. Then, back. He nodded, no judgment, jotting notes. Progress? Or just unpacking shrapnel? Controversial 5. Reach out to Elena. Not visit. Too raw. But a letter, my script looping elegant on crane stationery. Why? The bodega was crumbs. Was it worth my life? Mailed it, pulse erratic, then nothing. Weeks of silence, city life a blur, rooftop barbecues with Marcus's crew, salsa dancing in the village where sweat drowned doubts, hookups that fizzled because trust was a casualty. Then, the reply, smuggled via a guard's niece, Frankie traced it. You were the weapon I forged, Sophia. Stronger than I ever was. Forgive? No. But understand, survival's a bitch. Enclosed, a photo. Us as kids, me 5, her 20, at Coney Island, cotton candy staining grins. The twist deepened. She'd loved me, in her warped way. Groomed not just to destroy, but to inherit her empire. The scam? Test of loyalty. I failed by being me. Rage warred with pity, a civil war in my chest. I showed Marcus over whiskey in his loft, skyline twinkling like fallen stars. Family's fucked, he said, swirling ice. But you're not her. Am I? The question hung, heavy. Nights, I dreamed the fall, not death, but flight. Wings sprouting from concrete. Awake gasping, I'd code. Algorithms predicting fraud patterns, open-sourced for the world. My gift back, rebirth's dividend. Autumn brought harvest of consequences. Alex's appeal hearing leaked online, his testimony a bomb. Sophia knew. She was in on it. Lies, but viral. Sophia scam trended, trolls doxing my new address. Eggs splattering my stoop. Ramirez called, stay low. We're countering. But low wasn't my style. Controversial 6, press conference. Staged at the Charging Bull, financial district thrumming, cameras flashing like paparazzi lightning. I stood tall, mic gripped white-knuckled. They say I knew. I didn't. I died for their sins. Gasps. I played the recording, Alex's balcony whisper, edited for broadcast. Twitter imploded, support surging, justice for Sophia, celebs retweeting, GoFundMe for victims' families. But the backlash? Vicious. Op-eds in the Post. Vigilante or vixen? Fox News spin. Latina schemer plays victim card. Controversy's currency. Paid in sleep lost, stomach knotted. Marcus pulled me aside post-conference, rain slicking his dreads. This ain't chess, Soph. It's checkers, dangerous. He was right. Threats escalated. A car tailing me on the BQE, plates fake. Voicemails growling, fall again. Elena's network, lashing out. Frankie beefed security. Ex-Marine shadows, discreet as ghosts. Climax brewed in November fog, a whistleblower summit in D.C. Ironic invite, me the keynote. Train down a cella, Hudson blurring past, nerves electric. Hotel in Foggy Bottom, marble lobby, echoing footsteps. That night, knock at my door, room service, unbidden. I cracked it, chain taut, Alex. How? Bailed on technicality, plastic surgery blurring his jaw, blonde cropped to stubble. Soph, he breathed, eyes wild. Let me in, please. Gun oil scent. Wait. No gun, but desperation's blade. I slammed, chain rattling, dialing security. He pounded. I can fix it. Elena's flipping on everyone, including you. Twist 3. His escape, funded by holdouts in the web, a last gambit to drag me under. Feds swarmed, Alex cuffed in the hall, babbling. Interrogation room, one-way glass, Ramirez briefing, he's singing. Names, dates, your aunt's pulling strings from inside. Elena, master puppeteer, bartering secrets for a shot at retrial. The $480 million restitution? Frozen pending new evidence implicating accomplices. Me. Back in New York, storm hit. Subpoena served at dawn, agents polite but firm. Routine, Miss Reyes. Bullshit. I lawyered up, sharp Jewish firm from the Bronx. Rates pro bono for the cause. Depositions dragged. Did you access unauthorized files? Encourage leaks. Lies layered like lasagna, my truth a thin crust. Marcus hacked the prison logs, Elena's visits. Lawyers, sure, but a shadow figure, hooded. Not good, he texted encrypted. We met in a Queen's diner, fluorescent buzz overhead. It's Hale, the senator. He's her mole, pushing the appeal. Hale, the one-eyed USB'd at the gala. Payback's pendulum swung. Controversial 7, confrontation. I flew solo to his McLean estate. Virginia Hills rolling gold under dusk. Gate buzzed open, arrogance or trap. Mansion loomed, columns white as lies. He met me on the porch, scotch in hand, wife away. Ms. Reyes, he drawled, southern polish cracking. Bold. End it, I said, rain starting. Drop the appeal, unfreeze the funds. He laughed low. Or, you're outgunned, girl. I played the ace, recording from the gala, his pocketed USB confession. Resign, or this hits CNN. His face thunder, he lunged, glass shattering. We wrestled porch rails, thunder clapping, echo of my fall. I broke free, dialing 911 mid-scuffle. Cops arrived, Hale cuffed, sputtering privilege. Aftermath, Hale indicted, Elena's strings cut. Funds released, restitution flowing. Letters from recipients, tear-stained thanks. You saved us. But the wrestle left bruises, purple blooms on my ribs, mirroring souls. Winter blanketed the city in hush, snow muffling horns. I visited Elena unannounced, clearance bought with a favor to the warden. Visitation booth, plexiglass fogging breath. She looked diminished, lines etching defeat. Sabrina, she said, voice muffled. You won. Did I? The ring's ghost weighed. Why the hate? Eyes met, weary. Fear. You were everything I couldn't be. Pure, rising. I poisoned the well to keep you down. Confessions balm, partial. No forgiveness, but understanding's bridge. As I left, snow falling soft, twist resolved. Revenge wasn't erasure. It was excavation, unearthing rot to plant anew. Back in Ditmas, trees strung with lights, Marcus and I toasted to second chances. But in quiet moments, the hook lingered. What if rebirth was curse? looping vendettas eternal. I pushed it down, stepping into light. Ruined? Yes. Remade? Absolutely. Spring unfurled tentative, tulips pushing through concrete cracks in Madison Square Park, a metaphor I loathed for its optimism. The trial's echoes faded, headlines shifted to elections, crypto booms. But my life? A mosaic of mended shards, beautiful in fracture. Freelance swelled, TEDx talk on ethical reckoning, book deal whispers from Penguin. Sophia Reyes, Phoenix from Ashes, branded unbreakable. But brands lie. Inside, fault line spiderwebbed. Marcus proposed partnership, Ethos Audit's CFO, equity stake. We're unstoppable. He grinned over dim sum in Chinatown, steam rising like ambitions. I accepted, heart swelling. He was anchor, the one constant in chaos. Dates blurred into rhythm, trivia nights at dive bars, hikes in the Palisades where Hudson winds whipped confessions free. Love you, Soph, he said one sunset, hand in mine. Echo of Alex, but real, grounded, no shadows. Yet ghosts persisted. Dreams now, not falls, but flights, so close to the original. The shock of rebirth hit different. Waking sweat slick, I'd traced tattoos I'd inked post-trial. Phoenix on my wrist, mom's name and script. Therapy evolved. Group sessions for whistleblowers, circle of shared scars. I exposed my boss, a techie shared, voice cracking. Lost everything. My turn. I died for it. Came back swinging. Nods, no skepticism. Camaraderie in the uncanny. Controversial 8. Philanthropy. I funneled royalties into a fund, Reyes Restoration, for fraud victims' kids, college tuitions, therapy. Launch gala at the Whitney, donors in black tie, me in emerald silk that hugged like armor. Speeches droned. Then mine, one signature stole futures. This reclaims them. Applause thundered, but backstage, a face from the past. Kyle, the docs trader, gaunt, eyes hollow. You ruined me, he hissed, champagne flute trembling. Family disowned, wife left. Guilt lanced. My doing, the Reddit post a spark that blazed his world. Collateral, I whispered, but words ash. I'm sorry. The fund apply. For your kids. He deflated, nodding curt, vanishing into crowd. Absolution. Partial. Revenge's ledger balanced uneven, debts unpaid. Summer solstice brought the final twist, subtle as a whisper. Anonymous package, manila envelope, no note. Inside, flash drive, labeled Phoenix Files, unredacted. Plugged in, hearts stutter, Vanguard's full ledger, beyond what we'd leaked. Billions, not millions. Networks spanning continents. Politicians to cartels. Elena's masterwork, smuggled out pre-arrest. Why sent? Suicide note. Or invitation. Marcus and I decrypted in his loft, screens multiplying data like rabbits. This is dynamite, he breathed. Blow the lid off global finance. But the hook, my name, woven deep. Not victim, architect. Forged entries, my signature authorizing shells I'd never touched. Frame within frame. Elena's endgame. Implicating me posthumously or preemptively. If leaked, rebirth unravels. Sophia Reyes, the real mastermind. Panic clawed. Ramirez looped in, feds swarming. It's a plant, she assured, but doubt seated. Nights, I'd pace fire escape, city lights mocking. Was Elena's love this? A final test, pushing me to burn brighter or break. Climax crested in a Montauk cottage, rented for escape. Waves crashing like unresolved chords. Marcus and I drove out, U-Haul of doubts trailing. Bonfire on the beach, drive tossed to flames, sparks ascending like liberated sins. Fuck her, he said, arms around me. You're clean. But twists full turn, call from the warden. Elena, terminal, liver cancer, ironies bite. She wants you, he said. Last controversial, go. Flight to Sing Sing, Adirondacks green blurring past. Visitation, her frame shrunken, for dripping morphine. Sabrina, she rasped, hand skeletal through glass. The drive. Truth. Why? Voice cracked. To free you. Or damn. Your choice. Cough racked her. Eyes, once steel soft. I was broken. You? Whole. Leak it. End the cycle. Or bury. Choice loomed, heavier than falls. Back in the city, solstice full, I weighed. Release the files, expose all, risk my name's pyre. Or delete, Let sleeping wolves lie. Dawn broke over the bridge, joggers pounding paths. Decision crystallized. Partial leak. Redacted. My parts excised. To WikiLeaks, anonymous, with a manifesto. From the betrayed, for the broken. Fallout. Global quake. Banks toppled. Reforms rushed. Dodd-Frank 2.0. My shadow in the clauses. No splashback. Feds shielded. Ramirez's doing. Elena passed a week later. Obit buried in Metro. Finance exec dies. No mention of kin. Winter wrapped gentle. Holidays in the Bronx with cousins. Mom's recipes steaming. Laughter thawing frost. Marcus proposed under mistletoe. Ring simple gold. Forever, he asked. Twice over. I said, yes, blooming true. Ending? No tidy bow. Reborn to ruin. Yes, but also to rebuild. The form's ghost faded. Signature my own now. On leases. Books. A life unbetrayed. Controversies scarred, but stories shaped. Walking snow-dusted streets. Hand in his. I felt it. Not vengeance's fire, but dawn's quiet glow. Free, finally. Or as free as second chances allow. One last hook. In quiet, I wonder, if death resets again, would I sign differently? Hell yes. But this time, eyes wide open.